What's happening, guys? Happy Sunday and welcome to the Dynasty WarZone, the People's Dynasty podcast. On today's show, we're going to be looking at some win now, let's win some championship, trade targets, guys to acquire. And with me, it's Jerry Sinclair, the man of the hour and the man with the power. Jerry, my friend, what's going on?
Randall Young, it is so wonderful to be here. I am excited to talk football. I am excited to just exist in this realm because, God, we got startups going. Still got some rookie drafts trickling around in the world. Oh, it's still good to be alive. But, God, I could use some football, buddy. I'm going to be honest with you. Now that we've hit this little gap, I need a little something.
Well, I mean, you sound like you're greedy. You like you need too much. I mean, the NFL just gave us the schedule release, and they've given us like rookie camp and OTAs, and we'll start with the schedule, and then we'll come. Oh, you know what? Let's go the other way around. So there's been a lot of OTA videos. The one that was polluting, and that's the only word I feel like I can use, polluting my timeline today was Travis Hunter can't run routes. I'm like, is that all you guys have to do?
Yes.
I don't know what the weather was like in the rest of the United States. In Indianapolis, it was absolutely picture perfect. It was an absolutely gorgeous day, not a cloud in the sky. It was about 72 degrees. Beautiful. It's like, this is what you have to do on a Sunday? You know, one of them looked like he slipped. Jerry, what kind of stock are you putting into OTAs and camp reports?
Not a thing. Don't care about them. Don't watch them. Don't care. Irrelevant. Useless to me. As both a dynasty player and as a football fan. Does nothing for me. Coaches are going to do nothing but shoot rainbows and unicorns out of their ass about players. They're never going to say anything bad. And everybody who's not a coach is going to just spew dog crap and vomit over every player that they want to talk bad about. No, thank you. I'm good.
The one thing that I just don't get, have you seen the thing where they drop the pins from the little harness? You know what I'm talking about?
No idea.
It looks like a horseshoe, okay?
Okay.
And I got to do a good job of explaining this to the listener, but you could go there and find it. It's a reaction time thing for NFL players. Imagine a horseshoe on like a basketball post, and it's over your head. And along the horseshoe shape, there are little like pins, maybe a foot long, maybe an inch in diameter, like the handle of a baseball bat. And they drop. And as they drop, they got to like snatch them out of the air. And people are way overly concerned with these things when they shouldn't be. Like I watched one earlier of Shadur Sanders. But then you watch Matthew Golden from the Packers. He got every single one of them. That's what I would expect. He's a wide receiver. I don't expect Shadur Sanders to get every single one of them. But I love OTAs. And you know what I love more than OTAs, Jerry?
What's that?
Depth charts. And I don't know why they're not official. Are you a depth chart guy?
I mean, to an extent. It doesn't get my nether regions all excited, but they're necessary. They're necessary for the job of being a dynasty manager.
I don't know if there's some kind of weird like moist comment to make in there. I use them and I like it when I'm forced to. So I went on the RotoWire podcast on Friday with Alan Seslowski, great friend of the show, and we were doing dynasty taxi stashes. Running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, guys we're looking to stash. And one thing that I do, you can go to RotoWire, you can go to Our Lads, and you can look at depth charts. And by doing this exercise, I found that I can take that and then I can go back and like look at Twitter highlight film and see if these guys are doing anything. Like right now, the Cowboys, running back room, right?
Yeah, not great. Javonte,
who's the second stringer?
Who is the second stringer?
Think about he came over from the Panthers. He was an Eagle. They signed him in free agency.
Was it Dowdle?
No,
Dowdle's not there anymore.
Dowdle went to Carolina. It's Miles Sanders.
Oh yeah, I don't give a shit about Miles Sanders,
Well,
as you can tell.
but they drafted a rookie. What rookie did they draft?
The Cowboys? I have no idea.
Jesus Christ! You'd think you hosted a dynasty show.
Well, it's a I don't give let me say this. If they're not going to help me win a championship, I don't give a tinker's fuck about any of these players. And I don't think the Cowboys' third string rookie running back they drafted in the 5th round matters for fuck all.
Harry Snowman in the YouTube chat. God bless you, Harry. It is Jaden Blue. He is currently listed as a second teamer. And why that's relevant, you can go listen to the entire podcast I did with Alan. Again, it's on RotoWire. It's on Apple. Just go to the RotoWire feed. It should have dropped Friday or Saturday. But that matters because while I do think Javonte Williams could have a really good season if he were able to stay healthy, that's the spot. That's the spot. That's the spot that we wanted Quinshawn Judkins to go to, Omarion Hampton to go to, Travion Henderson. I'm not saying Jaden Blue is any of those guys, but that's why I love using some sort of like a roster, first team, second team, third team. Because I went through, and Alan and I went back and forth, and we probably named 15 guys that are maybe an injury away from meaningful reps, and reps equals points. So I love this time of the year. You know, I bet you Jaden Blue, I bet you his fast draft ADP is going up, Jerry.
Yeah, and that's a wasted pick. No
it
offense.
Is not. You are drunk.
The only reason that man is relevant to Dynasty in any way is if he does start a game, I can trade him immediately. Because other than that, I don't go.
Why would you trade him after such a short sample size?
Because he's not a. This is a dude that at Texas had like 700 yards rushing.
This could have been a Bucky Irving conversation last year. A lot of people did not love his athleticism.
Yeah, and you know what I would do with Bucky Irving right now? Trade him.
Exactly, but you wouldn't trade him after one game.
No, I wouldn't. But
and in a best ball format, I
also don't play best ball because I'm just it's not my game. I'm a dynasty guy. That's why I do a dynasty.
I mean, that's why you knew who Jaden Blue was.
Yeah, I mean, I know Jaden Blue went to Texas, and I knew he was pretty good in the Michigan game, but also, what did I say? A 5th round pick? I think he was a 5th round pick, if I'm right. 5th round, 149. See,
that's fine. That's fine. Those are the guys you want. So, but we're going to talk about veterans that you want. But if maybe you're new here, out of all the hundreds of people watching this on Sunday night via either YouTube or social media, if you're wondering, maybe you've just now heard the term fast draft for the first time, check out a word from Player Profiler's own, the Podfather.
Rookie. It's all about rookie talk in fantasy football right now. So why not go use all that knowledge to do something other than a mock draft? Chris Jimino won $8,000 with just 2 teams last year, and each draft took 5 minutes. That's pretty good ROI. You can start doing rookie drafts for money today on Fast Draft. The Origins tournament is live. It is the place to go and monetize your knowledge of rookies and use your favorite Player Profiler host promo code for a $25 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Yeah, and I use that commercial because it's the one loaded in the software that we use. But go to Fast Draft. You can find it on Google Play. You can find it on the Apple App Store. And you use promo code WarZone when you sign up. You get up to $50 deposit match. The average draft, $5 to $10. I believe all the rookie stuff is pretty much closed. You might be able to sneak in one. You're probably going to be looking at the Flex 4 game. Make sure to check that out, Jerry. But you were just saying the NFL, you need more NFL. You greedy son of a bitch.
I am greedy. I've been saying that for 8 years on this show.
It was literally less than a week ago the NFL gave us the schedule. The NFL is so good at parsing out things for us as football fans. They're like, oh, hey, NBA, I noticed you're having the playoffs. Oh, there's the NHL also having playoffs. Yeah, you know what? Go fuck yourself. Here, we're going to take over the entire social media world. We're going to take over ESPN, and they're going to talk about games that we're not even going to play for 4 months. But I know you're a big schedule guy. I know you're wearing your Lions pride shirt. What did you think of the schedule release from, a Lions fan, and then anything from a dynasty perspective that you felt good or bad about?
The Lions schedule sucks, dude. Sucks. I mean, we got everybody and their brother. We got the Eagles. We got the Commanders, which need a little bit of revenge on them. We got the entire division. We got Baltimore. Like, we got Cincinnati. We got no easy weeks. We got Cleveland. Thanks for the Browns. We got the Bears. Sorry, not sold on you yet. And Ben Johnson got a thing to learn about what happens when you come to Detroit after you leave Detroit. But no, the whole NFC North as a whole, Randy, and we talked about this before we hit record, and you're about to expand on it a little bit, but it's tough sledding for everybody in that division.
Well, part of it is in the strength of schedule that I use is Warren Sharp. And a lot of places use last year's win-loss record to determine this year's strength of schedule. What Warren Sharp does as an analytics and as a gambling guy is he takes their Vegas win total futures and builds strength of schedule or opponent's strength of schedule, good or bad. And I think based on the Bears, the Lions, the Packers, and even the Vikings, I'm going to use this information to transition us to guys we're trying to buy for Dynasty championship winning teams. But yeah, they all have to play each other. And like the 49ers, like if you've got Brock Purdy, hello, I didn't put Brock Purdy on my list. Maybe he's one of your guys. They have the easiest strength of schedule of anybody in the NFL based on their opponent's projected wins total. So might be a good time. Like if you're a contender and you feel strongly about Christian McCaffrey, I've heard a lot of people think Christian McCaffrey could be a thing. You know, he could battle through the injuries. Don't know, but I like using the schedule to try to figure out where dynasty value could come in. I will say as a Colts fan, they have what looks to be, I think, the 8th or 9th easiest schedule. But man, when you ain't got a quarterback, you don't have an easy schedule. And
No.
and speaking of like the previous thing we were talking about, the OTAs and the highlights, if I have to see one more out of sequence throw from Anthony Richardson and then I actually commented on it with a picture of Anthony Richardson throwing a 6-yard interception to 3 Bears and not one Colt guy in there in that area. It's like you can keep throwing all the 50-yard bombs that you want on air. And you know what? Dude hit plenty of them in the game. But when you can't hit a 6-yard pass in the end zone and you throw it to 3 Bears, that's the bread and butter. That's the staple throws that you have to make in the NFL. You just can't be always chucking it 50 yards deep, because the last time I checked, the Colts don't have a Randy Moss on that team, Jerry.
No, how dare you besmirch Alec Pierce like that? But
Look, Alec Pierce is we'll end this segment on this. Alec Pierce is the guy, and he is the quintessential, it's kind of lazy podcast fantasy football speech, but it's true, and it's used a lot because it is true. Alec Pierce is the quintessential best ball wide receiver. He is the guy that is going to win you 1 or 2 weeks if you play best ball. Just chuck it long 14 down there somewhere. And and when you got an arm as big as Anthony Richardson, it can pay off. Again, do I love Alec Pierce in a league where I got to hit submit lineup? Absolutely not. But in best ball, give him a whirl. So there you go, Jerry. Didn't have a good people, bad tweets. But I'm ready to start talking dynasty trades. Guys you are looking to acquire, guys that can win you a championship right now. Now I'm going to give you my definition, and then you're going to give us your definition, and then you can go right into your first guy. For me, a guy that can win right now is essentially you're looking at like their seasonal opportunity, almost like a redraft gamer as opposed to a dynasty gamer. And I try to do that because, like, in order for them to help me win a championship, I've got to think they're going to have a really good season. But I'm also trying to get them coming off of a less than stellar season, because sure, I could go try to get Josh Allen, and I won't have anything left on a contender, including draft picks for the future, by the time I get him. I'm looking for this weird Venn diagram of value, points, and acquisition cost. Does that make sense? That's what I'm looking for Because of course you can go out and get Justin Jefferson, you'll pay an arm and a leg, and you'll gut your roster, and then you won't end up winning a championship. So that was my definition, Jerry. What's your definition?
Somebody who has a perception that is near the end, and also sort of like what you said, where you're thinking about it seasonally. Like you have a short-term window, but also just the perception is that you only have a 1-year window. Like some of the guys I'm going to talk about, they're stable assets for the next 3 years, and everybody thinks they're going to die, and they've been dying for the last 3 years. Going against that because not everybody is 24 and elite and everything else. If I'm trying to win and I have somebody that's a 2-year asset every single time. And that's the one thing that I try to tell newer people to this game, because everybody, as soon as I'm going to play Dynasty and I'm not going to have anybody that's over 25, and you know what's going to happen? You're going to fucking lose. There's no way around it. I'm sorry, because you're going to go against somebody that has Saquon Barkley. You're going to go against somebody that has Derrick Henry, and on and on and on. And we're going to talk about some of these guys, so I don't want to just spew it all. But you know what's going to happen when you go against them and you start Caleb Johnson? Yeah, you got a sizzly team. I got this first-round rookie running back starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then he's going to go against Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry's going to drop 30 on you, and Caleb Johnson's going to get 9. Yeah, well, you got stability for a time. Well, I need points, brother.
Give us a guy. I like where you're at. I like some of the things you said. Yeah, I'm looking to buy the dip, essentially. I'm looking to buy the dip of, I know this guy can score. You know what? I'll screw it. I was going to let you go first. You know what? You can go fuck yourself.
Do it.
I have the perfect guy when we're talking about this. Talking Tyreek Hill. Okay. Tyreek Hill. I see people out there left, right, and center talking up Devontae Adams. If I can get Tyreek Hill straight up for Devontae Adams, it's a done deal. Do you know how many points in his career, how many points a game Tyreek Hill has averaged? Okay. You have any 17.9 across 8 years, eight total seasons. And all people remember, because people live in a fishbowl, was the 12.8 that he scored last year. But do you remember just one season before that where he set a career high for points per game in a season, 23.5 points? And part of the reason why I'm doing this now is I'm wanting to get out ahead of this, because these are older guys. They're going to only go up as the season kicks off, right? And because what do we always say? Veterans are worth more during point scoring season. We're not there. Some of you haven't had your rookie drafts yet. This is a great time if you're a contender and you can give up the 211 or the 212 because you had a really good team last year and get a guy like Tyreek Hill, especially on the clock. I think he, above anybody else, if you're trying to win a dynasty championship, you get that opportunity at value, a rebound of production. He's at a cheap acquisition cost, and he's got the quarterback that got him to 23.5 points a game, at least to start the season. He's back. Tyreek Hill was one of the first guys on my list.
He was also one of the guys on my list, so I'm not mad at you at all. And the thing about him is his perception is that boy is useless right now, and it's wild.
Was he in? I mean, I know he had the wrist, but was he injured?
No, I mean, he played every game. But also when Tua goes down and you got Randall Young throwing you the football, you're not going to do very great.
I said this on the pod when the Podfather came on. You would know this if you would have been here for that episode, but you were crying in a Michigan State basketball loss.
Yes.
But I think there's a world where Zach Wilson has a good back half of the season in that Mike McDaniel offense with Tua, with Jonnu Smith, with Jalen Waddle, with those running backs. I believe it's the best backup quarterback situation they've had. It's no more of the Skyler, whatever the hell.
Oh yeah, Skylar Thompson. There we go.
Skyler. If your name's Skyler, I automatically hear it in my head. Skyler is your name. No, but you get my point. So I think from Tyreek Hill, and then I would actually, if Tua got hurt, I don't know that I'd play Wilson, and it may hurt Hill, but I'd play Quinn Ewers. Screw
I
it.
mean, I agree.
You're probably
I'm with
already going to
you,
finish
but
last in the division anyway. Speaking of tough schedules, you're
yeah.
probably already going to finish last on the schedule. You might as well see what that kid's got.
No, I'm in on Tyreek, man, because that boy, like I said, his value is worth absolutely nothing right now. So I'm 100% for getting him, especially right now while it's rookie season. Dude's worth nothing to most people. But as far as my guy's the quintessential person that I've probably said for the last 3 years, and I already mentioned his name, Derrick Henry. What's Derrick Henry got to do, man?
Real quick before you do that, because I accidentally went to open the window and I closed the window. Where do you think in Player Profiler's Dynasty wide receiver rankings, where do you think they have Tyreek Hill?
26.
Bartender, make it a double. Well, almost a double. They have him as wide receiver 48. Just behind they have Devontae Adams. They say that's we're Player Profiler. We go in this as well. And then Michael Pittman, Jaden Higgins, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, Cortland Sutton, Jacoby Myers. Everyone that I just read off are guys that are ahead of Tyreek Hill. If you are chasing a dynasty championship,
where'd Jaden Higgins go in your rookie draft? 208? 207?
That's what I'm saying. If you can get Tyreek Hill for a second, that is cash money, because even if your team falls apart, even if the wheels come off your wagon and you're losing in season, a guy that you paid a second for, you could probably flip for a first. If he has a bounce back season, even if he hits his career average, if he's scoring 18 points a game and one of the other contenders, maybe, like I said, maybe you're not, you can get a first for him in season. So
if you
there's some risk, but
yeah, but I mean, there's a risk with the second round pick too, Randy. Like, what is the chances Jaden Higgins is going to return top 24 value?
And then I see in the chat
at any point in his career.
I want to give a shout out to Corey, and then Harry, and then it's Chuka baby. They're all in there. Does Tyreek Hill get traded? I kind of feel the same way about Tyreek Hill as I feel about DJ Moore. I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance that they could be traded, but the problem is most of that's done by now. The one sliver of hope, if you hope one of these guys does go to a different team, is once they get past that June 1st. Now, it's not stopped teams in the past from making trades amongst the NFL, and they designate it as a post June 1, blah blah blah. But I think Tyreek's going to eat this year. And out of all those guys that I mentioned around him, give me Tyreek Hill in a 1-year sample over guys that I mentioned. Although, and by the way, he didn't make the list, but Michael Pittman shamefully disrespected us at 27 years old, given his points per game at 46. But you wanted to talk about the king, Derrick Henry, big contract extension this week.
Which is unbelievable that we're still thinking this guy is going to stop. For one, he is just a different specimen of human, even among NFL players, Randy. We need to stop with this. Derrick Henry's old. Derrick Henry is going to fall off. Yeah, Derrick Henry's old, but Derrick Henry's different. Derrick Henry's not Ty Gurley. Like he's not Matt Forte. He's not LaShawn McCoy. Like he's not any of these guys. He's a superhuman freak who has just been consistently dominant. Randy, rushing touchdowns the last couple of years, 16, 12, 13, 10, 17, 16, 12. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? 1,900 yards last year as a 30-year-old running back. And then he just got the extension on top of that. Randy, Derrick Henry in Dynasty, and this is something that I just want to really focus on, because you said you really like depth charts. I like contracts. Contracts tell me everything I need to know about the stability of a dynasty asset. Derrick Henry, running back, 3-year contract plus elite production. So that 3-year contract is pretty secure for the most part. I think that's fair to say. And,
very fair to say. Very fair to say.
So if I have 75% of the, what did he have last year? 2,100 yards and 18 touchdowns. If I have 75% of that over the next 3 years, I have an RB1. How many guys can we say are going to have similar values and similar production as similar running backs in the NFL right now? 2, 3 guys. So why do we value Derrick Henry so much lower in Dynasty just because of his age? His situation dictates that he's just as valuable as Breece Hall in Dynasty, as Jonathan Taylor in Dynasty. We don't know what any of those guys are going to look like in 3 years.
And to me, running back is either you're a still producing or a not proposition. Because you mentioned a great example, Todd Gurley. What did he retire at 26?
Yeah.
I mean, I like Derrick Henry has grown on me, and and as the resident old guy. And by the way, real quick before I go any further, Cameron Myers, I saw your super chat. We are going to answer that at the end of the show. We're in the middle of talking about trade targets, but Cam, I promise you, we will get to that question before this show's over. Stick around, keep chatting. You don't need to do any more super chats. Hang out, and at the end of the show, we'll answer that trade question for you. But dude, the King. So as the resident player profiler, old guy. I think John Lobb might be older than me. I know the Podfather's close. I hate the term built different. It's like these motherfuckers are pro athletes. Of course they're built different. They're all built different. Even the fat out of shape ones are built different. You can give me a quote unquote fat out of shape NFL player, and I can go get you a fat out of shape guy at the local Walmart.
It's different.
Derrick Henry is the definition of built different. And he's not just built different. Like he's physically big and strong, and there's a lot of physically big and strong guys. Derrick Henry has a way of running for a man his size that he does not get injured. He does all of the strength, the mobility, and all of the things that you would want to do. And he is more than beyond the age of the guys. Like, I'm a gym bro, even for an old guy. Like, I love the gym. I think the gym is the gym is the fountain of youth. And I think Derrick Henry proves it. And if you're looking at a 2-year contender window, now the goal of these trade targets tonight is to win this year. Dude, Derrick Henry in that offense is going to run roughshod. And Baltimore is going to be in a lot of close games. They're going to score a ton of points. That's an offense you want to be attached to. That's kind of the reason why I like, Tyreek Hill. That's where it goes back to the schedule conversation, right? Miami going to be a bad team. What are bad teams doing? Trailing. What are teams trailing doing? They're throwing the football. What does throwing the football get? Targets. What does targets get? Catches. And what are catches? Catches are fantasy points. So Derrick Henry is in the perfect situation. But Jerry, can I give you a guy that will probably shock you that he made my list?
Am I going to make fun of you for it? Is that why it's shocking?
You could, but, and I'm maybe a little bit, don't see the industry as, go ahead.
Let me say, is this an embarrassing quarterback? Is this a quarterback that people don't like?
Kinda. I have two. I have two quarterbacks on my list.
Okay, then go ahead.
But I'm going to hit you with the one that looked like sunshine from Remember the Titans. It's Trevor Lawrence. I wanted, if we have time, and because we have a lot of these to go through, I may go to CJ Stroud. I'll just quickly say this about CJ Stroud. There's a dip to buy. They invested in the offensive line. They signed 2 guys in free agency. They weren't super awesome, but they are both pros in Cam Robinson and Lakeland Tomlinson, and then they drafted a guy with their 2nd round pick. They added 2 wide receivers in the draft. They traded for Christian Kirk. They added Woody Marks, who's arguably the best or one of the best pass catching running backs in the draft of these guys, from like a pure, not like a running back skill, but a pure catching skill, because he was a former wide receiver. They added all that for him. Plays in a very shitty division. I know, I'm a Colts fan. So CJ Stroud was my guy. But speaking of the shitty AFC South, let's talk Trevor Lawrence. Let me ask you a question, Jerry. I did some research. I like asking questions.
True.
How many points per game did Baker Mayfield average in his career before last season under Liam Cohen's offense?
You tell me.
No, sir. This is the shtick. You have to give me a guess. He's a quarterback. What did he score on average through his first 6 seasons?
14 points.
See, this is why you guess. You get to show the audience how goddamn smart you are. 14.3 points per game. And what did he average last year under Liam Cohen?
We'll say 18.
Try 21.5.
Okay.
21.5 points per game out of a non-rushing quarterback. Baker Mayfield, love.
That's pretty good.
Baker has grown on me like a cheap suit. He's just wore me out. He's broke me down, and I've come over to the Baker side. And Baker is absolutely, he killed it in that offense. Now you could say, well, he had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, kinda, but you're not going to tell me that because Chris Godwin only played half the season last year.
Yeah.
You know, I like Bucky Irving. We got Travis Etienne. I think Brian Thomas Jr. at this point in his career is a better wide receiver than Mike Evans. All time, young BTJ got a lot of work to do to catch Mike Evans. But then you add Travis Hunter. We're waiting for Brenton Strange to take a step. And then they added Diami Brown. Is he Jerry Rice? No, but is he serviceable? Yes. And do you know what Trevor Lawrence has averaged as a career as a quarterback?
Are you going to tell me 14 points?
15. It's 15 for his career. But I just think the opportunity.
Let's shoot for 22 then. You got to one-up Baker.
And Trevor Lawrence is currently listed as QB 14. QB 14. I think that's higher than I would have expected.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's the kind of guy that if you need a solid QB2 and you can maybe move off like one of these young sizzling upside guys, or maybe someone's a Justin Fields fan and, hey, Justin Fields is going to bounce back in New York and, hey, here's a second. Trevor Lawrence in a second or some kind of package deal. I'm all over the long hair. I'm all over sunshine. I feel like I've been down this road before, but got great hair.
We have. I mean, we've definitely both been down this road a bunch, but I am once again reaching for the Trevor Lawrence book off of my shelf because I am with you, buddy. It's not just Liam Cohen. It's not just Travis Hunter. It's not just another year of growth. It's not just another year of Brian Thomas growth. It's all of that.
Hey, I got a quick question for you because I like asking you these because I think it's fun to ask you questions that I'm always surprised that you may or may not know the answer to. So they're right next to each other in the player profiler Dynasty QB ranks. What is the age difference between Trevor Lawrence and Michael Penix Jr.? What is the age gap? Like how many months, years, whatever? You can do both. You can say like 18 months if you want to. Like what is the now if you get weird, like like he's 36 months. No, it's not what I'm looking for.
No. I mean, I know he's old, but I would still say I feel like you're making it closer, so I'm going to say 2 years. Originally, I thought 3.
Try 6 months.
Good God.
Trevor Lawrence.
Wild.
Trevor Lawrence, 25 and a half. Michael Penix, 25 straight up. I just noticed that out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, this guy's played like 8 NFL snaps. And that's the point of like where people see Trevor Lawrence. I think he could take a huge step. And if you're a Trevor Lawrence guy or not, it's like this is the year. This is the year. It's put up or shut up. But in superflex, he's the kind of guy that if he, I think it was 2 years ago, I think it was 2022, where he finished as like QB7 because he played all the games. He's also had some durability stuff. I think he's going to be awesome in this offense. I think the Jags offense is going to be fun to watch. And I'm all over him. So we shared him as well. Give me another guy.
George Kittle. Just got another extension. He's elite. He's the Brock Bowers counter. For those of you, he was it for Travis Kelce for a long time. He's still it for Brock Bowers. Yeah, he's in his 30s. Don't care. Same thing. Same thing as my argument for Derrick Henry. Based on what his contract is, based on what his production is, based on the situation of that offense going through him, especially with all the guys that they lost. Christian McCaffrey gets hurt a bunch. Debo Samuel's not there anymore. Who knows what's going to happen with Brandon Ayuk if he can stay healthy on the field. You know who always is on the field? George Kittle. You know who's been a demon his whole damn career? George Kittle. You know who's even got better over the last couple of years? George mother effing Kittle, man. Randy, we just like George Kittle or TJ Hawkinson. George Kittle. I know he's 6 years older, But what is
I'm-
TJ Hawkinson going to look like in 3 years? I have no idea. But in that 3 years, I know George Kittle's going to outdo him.
Well, I want to give props to Player Profiler, not only because we work there, but because I agree with this wholeheartedly. George Kittle as tight end 7 in a dynasty startup. I can co-sign on that. Even though he's 31, I mean, you're looking at 3 years, but if you have a George Kittle, that's why in this draft you got to go get Elijah Arroyo. You got to go trade for Theo Johnson. You have to go get a Terrence Ferguson or a Mason Taylor. You got to get one of these, a Harold Fanning. You got to keep doing that every year until you draft George Kittle's replacement.
100%.
And I want to throw a tight end at you. It's funny how we barely did a pre-show meeting, but yet here we are. Simpatico as always, Jerry. And I'm going to give you mine because it's a tight end. You know, that's the thing. Right after we hear about Dynasty Deluxe.
If you play in Dynasty, you need Dynasty Deluxe, our premium package for Dynasty Leaguers. We rank over 300 players, updated every week, all year long. And there's a win now mode and a rebuild mode with superflex and tight end premium controls. And a Dynasty League sync where you can say, sync down all of my sleeper teams, all my FFPC teams, and then you can browse around your leagues for who has needs, and then you can use our trade finder to see what kinds of trades are happening in leagues that are similar to the one I want to do. Then you can analyze trades using our trade analyzer, which balances the lifetime value, which includes pick values out to like 2028. All of that plus the rookie guide, $25 value is included. So if you're just in one Dynasty League, Dynasty Deluxe is well worth it. And use your host's promo code, and you can bump up to all in and get $25 off.
Go get that $25 off. Same as with Fast Draft, you can use promo code WarZone and get bumped up, save $25. All right. So I had a tight end too. And, you know, it's like you have your favorites, but he is dirt stinking cheap. And it is Evan Ingram. I mean, he's right there ranked with guys like Pat Freiermuth, Elijah Arroyo is ahead of him. Terrence Ferguson is in that range. I'm surprised people are so down on Mark Andrews. Maybe I should have thrown Mark Andrews on this list.
I almost threw him in instead of George Kittle. I didn't want to talk about 2 tight ends, but Mark Andrews 100%.
Or 2 Ravens or 2 Ravens because you already did the King. Again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to attach to this offense. Speaking of attaching to an offense, year 2 of Bo Nix in Denver, yes, please. So when it was the Russell Wilson era in Denver, the Broncos ranked 30th out of 32 teams in pass attempts per game. They weren't passing the ball. Last year with Bo Nix as a rookie, they passed the ball 33 times a game, 13th most in the NFL. So now they're almost in that upper third of the league. How many targets per season do you think Evan Ingram has averaged in 8 years? He averages X number of targets.
90.
92. See, this is why I ask you this. You just get it's like playing Jeopardy with that guy who hosts it now. You're really, really smart. And he's a guy who, for his career, he's played 108 games. Now he's got 92 targets a season, but he doesn't play all the games. You know, he gets hurt. He's been hurt a couple of times. For his career, he averages 7 targets a game. 7 targets a game is 108 targets. That's a lot of points. He's going to be, in my opinion, the clear number 2 in this offense. And really, he could wind up being the number 1 pass option. Now, I could see Cortland Sutton continuing to be the end zone option and the deep option. But if this guy starts gobbling up targets again like he did 2 years 2 years ago in Jacksonville, I love him. I absolutely love him. He's a gamer. People, again, it's that same thing. Yes, you're probably not going to get that career year from 2 years ago, the same as you won't get it from Tyreek Hill 2 years ago. But man, if you can get something between what he was last year and what he was in 2023, that's a damn W, Jerry. So I'm in on Evan Ingram. I don't want to say he's disrespected, but Evan Ingram,
he sort of is though. Like he's sort of been disrespected since like his second year in the league. Like he was all hype and everything that early on in his career, and then he sort of has become Disrespected, man.
Well, give us your next guy. And while you're doing that, you mentioned our Patreon, patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone. We're in the middle of what feels to be like one of the longest, startup drafts of all time, but that's okay. It's like, why does it have to end after 48 hours? We can just make this thing last for a while. I'm going to look to see where Evan Ingram went versus other tight ends in a real draft. And this is a tight end premium format, but give us your next guy.
The shirt I am wearing, buddy. That's Knuckles. David Montgomery. Randy, here's the thing. Jahmyr Gibbs, sexy. Oh my God. He is the new hotness. He is a talent that is unmatched by any running back in the league right now. He is everything that Alvin Kamara was early in his career, and he has a trajectory that looks very similar. That does not mean David Montgomery died. That boy has played in 14 games in both seasons he has been in Detroit, and he has scored 13 touchdowns and 12 touchdowns. You know what the perception about David Montgomery is? And this is a real situation, because he is absolutely 1B now. He was 1A for a long time. He got hurt. Jahmyr Gibbs came in. Jahmyr Gibbs did what Jahmyr Gibbs does. He's second fiddle. No going around it. But do you think they want to beat up Jahmyr Gibbs while he's the person that he is, the dynamic piece? No. He's still going to get double-digit touchdowns, and he's not worth... You could get Caleb Johnson, RJ Harvey. All of those guys are going to be worth more than David Montgomery, and they're not going to come close to the production. And he's got a nice, juicy contract. He's going to be around.
Yeah, I'm not trying to poo-poo this one. I just can't co-sign on this one because I'm concerned of what the offense looks like without Ben Johnson. Yeah,
they're still going to pound the rock. Like, they're not going to.
I agree. I agree with that because Dan Campbell had more input on the offense than people realize.
100%.
I just think that they saw the dynamism of Jahmyr Gibbs. And I don't think it'll be what we saw early in the season. I think you'll continue to see more. And instead of being like a 60-40, it's like a 70-30. I don't know that the touchdown upside is there. So while I like David Montgomery, he's super cheap. He's
this is exactly valuable. What I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. Because this is the perception of most people. And I think you guys are all fucking wrong. You're going to tell me the guy whose mantra is grit doesn't want to pound the rock and embarrass you with the best offensive line in the league behind David Montgomery on the goal line, or when it's 4th and 1. Brother. Like, I'm not saying that Jahmyr Gibbs is not going to be the focal point of that offense. He is. But if you think when it gets time to be grimy, and also like David Montgomery's used in the passing game. He had 36 receptions last year. Like, he had 34s last year in Chicago too. Like, I mean, he's just as involved in the pass game. I think you're crazy. Easy value.
Like I said,
easy value.
I didn't say I was against it. I just said I can't co-sign. To answer the little nugget that I dropped, Evan Ingram went at the 11-12. So he was essentially, what is that? That's 11 full rounds. That's 121, 121st player off the board. He went behind, or I should say, Jake Ferguson went ahead of him, David Njoku, Kelsey, Mark Andrews, Tucker Kraft, Kyle Pitts. I'd rather have Evan Ingram all day over Tucker Kraft. I like Tucker Kraft. Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith, maybe he's still a thing. I think Evan Ingram is an absolute stinking value. So, well, Jerry, while you're, I'm going to throw out my homer, my Colts guy, and then we can kind of go rapid fire without so much, back and forth. But I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor last year, he played in 14 of the 17 games, had a little injury in there. And I do like DJ Giddens. Please don't take this next rant as a reason not to look at DJ Giddens. I do like DJ Giddens. But Jonathan Taylor averaged 17.6 PPR points per game last year. And where would that rank him amongst all running backs in the NFL from a fantasy points perspective?
What was the point? Sorry.
He scored 17. His average was
Was 17.
17.6. Where did that rank him out of all running backs on a per game average?
Let's go 9.
6. He was tied for 6 with Devon Achane. And this is the next year in the Shane Steichen offense. I do understand there's some durability issues. The guy's not even 27. You know, he needs to shake some of the ankle lower body stuff. But man, I think he's pretty attainable. I mean, if you're a contender, would you give up the 110 for JT?
Yeah. Yes. Not even close. I would give up more than that, though.
You think it would get? I think that would, if you were like again, to be a contender,
mine would be earlier than that. Like I would take JT over Travion Henderson right here and right now. Put that on a billboard. Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, probably Omarion Hampton, if you want me to be honest with you. So,
well, I'll give you some guys. So, Player Profiler has him as RB9. Here's some guys in and around. You can tell me, would you rather have JT or the guy I'm getting ready to mention? JT or Josh Jacobs?
JT.
Bucky Irving or JT. Okay. Quinshon Judkins.
JT.
I'm going to make it a little bit harder. Travion Henderson.
JT. Not making it harder.
Brees Hall.
That's harder. That's a tie. I think depending on what situation I would take both of those guys interchangeably.
Last one, Devon Achane.
Taylor.
Okay.
I would take a chunk of the rookies over Achane too. He's just not a person that I'm going to have on my team. Not that I think he's not like a talented running back. It's just too little, gets hurt too much. No, thank you.
You should be drafting in so again, I'm always going to, when I do this, I'm always going to assume you have your own draft pick. But if you're drafting in the 109 through the 112 and you're a top 4 team from last year and you don't have some kind of weird retirement injury situation come up, this is the kind of guy that I would give my first round pick for. I do not care. I don't know that gets it done. If your rookie draft's already passed and you can go out and maybe dangle one of these guys in front of the JT, GM, I'm in there. Jerry, we got about 15 minutes left. Let's turn on the jets a little bit and let's go a little bit more rapid fire. Give me another guy.
Aaron Jones. He's pretty cheap. He had 1,500 yards last year at 30 years old. Randy, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be an RB1. I'm not saying he's going to replicate 1,500 yards, but dude, for what you're going to pay for Aaron Jones as a contender to just throw into another piece on an already good team, oh my God. Yeah, easy. Stop.
All right, I'm going to hit you with another one, and I think he's a little low. Now, I do like Aaron Jones, real quick. It's the same reason, like, how do you help make Anthony Richardson's life easier? You give him a healthy dose of JT. Whether it's Daniel Jones or whether it's Anthony Richardson, how do you give him some time, a healthy dose of the running back? I agree with Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones is a guy that if you're not competing, I want to get away from because he tends to break.
Yes,
he's tended to break down as the season goes on, kind of like a Joe Mixon. The last year he tends to break down, but then like a cannonball. Like he comes out of the tunnel and wins you a dynasty championship because he plays weeks 14, 15, 16. Always seem to be meaningful games for the Vikings, and he balls out. So, I mean, that's also – I got one for you. Speaking of being helpful to a young quarterback, I like Tony Pollard. The Titans added nobody. I wanted to say James Conner. I'll throw James Conner out there as a cheap – but I think James Conner's kind of known. But – people don't like old guys, and I don't know what it is. I just like winning. And dude, Tony Pollard last year, that dude had 57 targets, Jerry. 57 targets. Major quarterback improvement. Some additions to the wide receiver group, but not awesome. Addition to the offensive line. I think Cam Ward's going to be really good, and Cam Ward isn't like the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen type running backs where he runs around a bunch. He's mobile enough and athletic enough to scoot around and extend plays. but he's going to hit Tony Pollard. And Tony Pollard, the new head coach, who was the new head coach last year, going into his second year, brought in Tony Pollard, and he brought in no competition. We know Tajay Spears has I'll call it degenerative. He's got a bad knee that he's had. But to his credit, he's played for years on it. I think Tony Pollard is the clear 1A in this offense. He's going to get the lion's share of the carries. And I think he's a guy that if you're on the clock with the 208 and you're trying to avoid taking a wide receiver or someone you don't feel too good about and you're contending, it's a great play to go make it on Tony Pollard.
I'm fine with that. I've sort of been a hater of Tony Pollard, but I can actually dig that, Randall. I don't know if I have one guy to end it. So I'm just gonna throw a bunch out there, and you just sort of tell me if I'm crazy for any of them, which I don't really think I am, because these are all going to be old guys that we've been talking about for a couple of years that we've seen depressed value. Like this person went in the 8th round of the startup that we're doing, Alvin Kamara. This person went at the end of the 9th round, Mark Andrews. Like we got Geno Smith, 10th round, like Sam Darnold, 7th round. Like a lot of these guys are going to be on the cheaper end. They're not sexy, but if you have a championship roster and you have somebody that gets hurt or you have those bye weeks, you want somebody that you can replace it with so you can just stay near the top of the standings so that when everybody's healthy at the end of the year, you're ready to just hammer it home and win the title. And those are the type of guys that you can do that to hold on. The rest of the league doesn't really need those guys, so they're easily acquirable also. But Alvin Kamara, Mark Andrews, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. I wanted to say Jared Goff, but I already talked about David Montgomery a little bit, and Jared Goff's a little more on the expensive side because he's just handsome.
Well, let me throw a couple more at you. I went with Chuba.
Okay,
Dude, Chuba. How many games he played? 15. He missed 2 games with injury. Out of those games, how many games did he have 4 or more targets? Because remember, a target for a running back is more valuable than a rush attempt. So how many games did he have 4 or more targets?
We'll say 6.
10 of 15 games played.
Shit.
He had and he had 6 games of 5 targets. He's going to continue to be involved in that passing game. I know people like Tet McMillan. Xavier Legette may be one of the best social media follows.
That accent is great,
dude. I would like to hire him just to read my emails.
I think next week we just do the Xavier Legette accent for the whole podcast. Nobody will have to do subtitles. Nobody will understand a thing.
I want to throw out one more, and this goes back to earlier. Corey in the chat had this, brought up about trades.
Yep.
I got Kirk Cousins as cute in the 17th round, the 17th 03. Here's the thing. Kirk Cousins is going to start games this year.
Yep.
And Kirk Cousins is another year removed from the Achilles injury. And Kirk Cousins, Pittsburgh's a possibility, especially given that Aaron Rodgers still hasn't signed there. I don't know why you would. And we see it every year. There's a big quarterback injury in camp. Someone goes down, or it's midseason. Kirk Cousins is going to play meaningful games, and you could get him for scraps. Yep. Absolute scraps. All right, Jerry. I saved it to the end. We had a super chat tonight from Cameron Myers, and I want to do that justice, but I wanted to work it in where it made sense. And Cameron asked, Superflex League, 12-teamer. He has Daniels, humble brag. I understand, buddy. Good for you to have a top 3 QB. Just like Jerry likes to say, just walk in there and just drop your junk on the table. But then behind that, he has J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., and Aaron Rodgers. Do I need to draft a quarterback still this year? Jerry, what do you say?
I see where he's saying that because he's got – you don't know what you have with McCarthy. You don't know what you have with Michael Penix. But honestly – you got Jaden Daniels. And if there's a person that's going to walk into a room and drop his nuts on a table, it's Jaden Daniels. You already have a young anchor quarterback that you can just sit and just enjoy for the near future. And you have at least multiple with JJ and Michael Penix. We don't know if either of them are going to be worth a damn or if they're the next Daniel Jones in the next couple of years. But at least you've got 2. So you've got double the possibility that you have your QB2. And also, like in JJ McCarthy's case, at least you've got TJ Hawkinson and Justin Jefferson and, Addison and Penix. At least you have Drake London. And then he can still hear me talking. Kick me out of the show. So no, I don't think you pick a quarterback this year, buddy. Like, well, I don't. Especially not with this draft, right? Like, this draft has tons of running backs. It's got a few wide receivers. Like, hell no. You're already set up with Jaden Daniels. Get your skill guy.
For me, I'm not in the first round. With that, I would not. If Cameron, let's say you have the 209 and Shadur is standing there, I have no problem with you adding, because JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, we just talked about Aaron Rodgers' situation. All of those guys are a lottery ticket. All of those guys have potential to do good. Now, to Jerry's point, you have the kind of quarterback situation that I want. I want my stud. You have a stud. You have Jaden Daniels. Set it and forget it. You ain't gotta sweat it. Maybe you can package two of those guys and go trade for CJ Stroud. Maybe someone would take Penix, and maybe they're in a quarterback deficiency. But here's the thing. I am always taking at least one quarterback in every superflex draft. Always. It may be Riley Leonard. It may be Will Howard. It may be Quinn Ewers. I'm kind of giving away the farm of the guys that Alan Seslowski and I talked about, because, if you're the Colts, and I think they're projected to be like one of the bottom 6 teams in the league this year, which is hard to say as a fan, because I've been spoiled, because like for the last 2 decades, it was, Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. But here we are. It's like, look, if Anthony Richardson's not the guy, if he's the next Trey Lance and Daniel Jones continues to be Daniel Jones, why wouldn't you want to get a look at a Riley Leonard? Why, if you're Pittsburgh, if you can't sign Aaron Rodgers, you can't trade for Kirk Cousins, why wouldn't you go out and, let Will Howard play games? I believe there's only upside in playing these games, because I don't want to go around chasing the next Brock Purdy. But with the way the NFL's played nowadays, there are a lot more of these 7-on-7 camps, and you just want to see reps. I just want to see if a guy can handle the blitz. Can he hit the check down? Can he make the layup? Cameron hit us with a follow-up. He says he has the 101, the 104, the 106, the 112. And I don't have a single running back. You do now.
Yeah, you got plenty. You're going to get plenty.
You're going to get Ashton Genty.
You have an anchor. You have an anchor at Ashton Genty. You have somebody that's probably going to be an RB1 in Travion Henderson or Quinshawn Judkins. Like, you have a top 16-ish guy there at 104. If you want to stab again at 106 and just go, whoever, Caleb Johnson, RJ Harvey, blah, 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 blah.
I would say I like Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart, he's got the 112.
He's fine.
He's got the 112. But like, maybe you can get someone who's QB desperate if Cam Ward is on the board at 104. I would not go Cam Ward. I like Cam Ward, but
yeah,
you could easily say, hey, does someone want to give me the 108 and like a future first, and we can work something out, and I can move back a couple of picks. Then lock in at 104. You get O'Marion Hampton or Travion Henderson. At 106, you can get RJ Harvey or Quinshawn Judkins. All of a sudden, your running back room looking pretty sweet. You could even add a 4th running back if you wanted to at 112. And then
at least you've got the core, right? You've got Jaden Daniels, you've got Ashton Genty. Plus, I don't know what your wide receiver room looks like, but you have 2 young anchor pieces that you can sit at. You might not win this year, but you're in good shape.
Yeah, you could use 104 on Tet McMillan. There are 100%. There are so many things. Maybe you believe in Travis Hunter. I still believe in Travis Hunter. Maybe you take him at 104. Because you've accumulated all these draft picks. I still would not leave this draft without without one quarterback. Like I said, I personally do it in every league, because I like the dynasty term generational wealth, because it's funny, because none of these guys are ever going to last a generation. No. Maybe Patrick Mahomes, maybe Josh Allen, maybe Lamar, those kind of guys, can be the next Peyton, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, etc. Maybe those can be the guys, but very few of these guys are quote unquote generational. But hitting on a Brock Purdy type is the kind of guy that would, if you hit to the level that Brock Purdy has, by the way, salute Brock Purdy, 265 million. And by the way, speaking of player profiler, if you're not following Chuck Bass on, is it Bass? It's Chuck B.
I think it's Bass.
There's I don't know, it's Bass or Bass, but anyway, he's hilarious. He posted the other day the amount of Marvel movies that you could have made instead of giving Brock Purdy $265 million. I was rolling. I was just absolutely rolling. But Jerry, I think we can do this. I think we can do this again. I think next week we maybe do the cell version.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and give you the spoiler alert. Devontae Adams on the list if that's where people are finding him right now, Jerry. But I love this time of the year. This is the time where they're dynasty tropes for a reason. You can do these shows on trades. You can do it on, but I think you and I did a good job of mixing. But look at us I'm putting us over. Fuck it. Giving you a good idea of what you could offer, what you could do. But we appreciate you guys. All of these people, hundreds, and it's not quite The Rock. Remember The Rock in WWE, where it was with the millions.
Same birthday as me.
And millions. We're not quite to millions and millions, but the 100. We have another super chat. Wait a minute. Last minute, I missed it. It was from Jamie. Jamie, you sweet son of a bitch.
He was just giving us some love. He's an angel.
He was just trying to get, and I missed it because I was locked in. Jamie, you are the sweetest, and guys, all of you are. If you want to support the show, download the Fast Draft app. Even if you don't live in a state where you can play, where like you can play the free game. There's a free game on Fast Draft, and you can win up to $1,000. And when you take that $1,000, you can then, when your state goes legal, you can use it as real bucks. That's fun, and it's free, and you get to do the Fast Draft. You can do drafting in your state. Jerry, that's reasonable. You can go with Dynasty Deluxe, and you could use promo code WarZone and get bumped up to the all-in package. You'll save $25. I mean, that's how you support the show. But the easiest way, and I used this term years ago with our buddy Dr. Kyle, the freest way, I made that word up, the freest way to help any podcaster or YouTuber is just like and subscribe. Leave a comment. All of you guys tonight, beautiful. The chat tonight was as poppin' as I remember for a while. Jerry, we'll do a lot of fun stuff like this throughout the next season. Next week, we're going to be guys to be selling. And I don't care if you're contending and selling or you're rebuilding and selling. We're going to be selling our asses off next week.
No, and it's going to be wonderful. Chat was awesome today.
Dude.
And listen, I'm usually the one that's responding to everybody in the chat because Randy rambles on, and I like to interact with the people. I found out today, thanks to Harry Snowman, that fantasy sports are illegal in Portugal because he is going to be there, and for the first time in 35 years, he is not going to get to play because he will be in Portugal. And I say, what the fuck is wrong with Portugal? You have every single drug legal in your country, but you can't let the nerds have this one thing that we need. Randy, good God. You know what? It's fine. Not even upset.
You know what? This one goes out directly to is it the president of Portugal? The chancellor? Prime Minister?
I think they have
the king. The king?
I think they're a monarchy.
Okay, whoever the top dog is.
Oh no, I lied.
President?
Yeah, we're gonna find out. They don't have a king though.
Well, guys, we're just dicking around.
Yeah. Now we're dicking around.
Now we're just dicking around. Chief
Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, the president of the Portuguese Republic. To you, sir, I say, open your eyes and get with the people, brother. Republic, to you, my ass.
And shout out Liv in the chat, VPN. Yeah, that's always a good thing. But what was his name? Marcelo
Rebelo de Sousa.
And to Marcelo, I say,
true.
Poo on you.
Whoever's running against you, brother, they got my vote.
Yeah, we got we give it up to the people. But guys, speaking of the people, shout out to all of you guys. Thank you for the interaction. was great. And you guys are the realist, because if you're sticking around on a Sunday night in May to talk about Dynasty fantasy football, you are in fact the realist. We appreciate you. We will be back next week talking more Dynasty fantasy football. This week we're buying, next week we're selling. And Jerry, let's get out of here.
Yeah, love y'all.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.